Over the years, I've been approached on more than one occasion on taking on some sort of a commercial project, right? So it's often been something tied to some sort of a restaurant food setup, sometimes some commercial work inside of some sort of a retail store, or even something inside of someone's office around like their kitchen area or break room, or maybe it's like some sort of open space that they want to give new life to and take that boring office blandness out. Now, as a general contractor who's running primarily a home improvement company, we are completely capable typically of doing that work. And here's what I mean. I already have the foundational process set up, right? So I'm licensed in my state to do that kind of work. I'm a general contractor. I'm insured. I might have to, yes, get some sort of a rider to cover this particular project, but I'm set up and I have the structure in place as far as our carpenters, lead carpenters, project managers, and helpers. We already know the process and we have a good network of subs. So when we need help with the mechanicals, or if there's some sort of a specialty person that's required, we understand how to find those people, contract with them, right? Schedule them, put the whole package together, and deliver to the client the result that they're looking for. Now, that is our value as a company, and that is often why people would reach out to me and ask if we could look into helping them with this new build out that they might look for. And often it would come in the form of a referral. Someone would call me up and say, hey, Mike, my friend, my neighbor, my brother, my sister-in-law's husband, whatever, they have this restaurant and they're looking to do this, or they're opening this restaurant and they want this, and they've seen the work that you've done for us, and we talked about how good your company was at sticking to a schedule, right? And people in the commercial space, they don't want to be messed around with. They time is money for them as well, and they need to get something started and completed on schedule. So a company that focuses on that, if that's your bread and butter, if you are good at adhering to a schedule, then you could have your foot in the door. Now, at the same time, right? So here it's a chance for you to flex and say, yeah, we can take that project on. And sometimes these are big projects. There's a lot of money involved, right? Especially if you're doing a lot of carpentry work for some sort of a restaurant where there's going to be booths and all types of seating areas and all the wall, right? These restaurants can hold a couple hundred people sometimes. There might be outdoor patio space that they need work done. So it could be a rather large scale project. And what I would say to you is, if you haven't done any commercial work in the past, don't shake it off right away. But if you're open to it, go into it with caution and make sure you set some things up and parameters to protect yourself, right? So get to know who you're getting ready to contract with. If you find out, if possible, the closer you are to the owner, the better. If this is some sort of a corporate deal or a chain and you're working with more like some sort of a manager or a location scout, then yeah, it's going to be a little more challenging. However, a lot of times these larger corporations, there's a little bit less likelihood of them going out of business unless you already hear rumblings in the media that they're struggling. But you do want to find out who, if it's a franchise, who is the actual franchisee owner, and see what their reputation's like. Do some digging, find out, right? Talk to some people, try to investigate the best you can. Find out somebody that went to high school, college, worked with them in the past, whatever, if they own other locations, see if you can get the building permit and find out who was the GC or contractor on that job. Talk to them. What was it like to work with so-and-so? Because at the end of the day, whatever it was like working with them in the past is what it's most likely going to be like you working for them in the present or near future. So understand this. For my perspective, I looked at commercial work as a bonus to our business, and I did not look at it as our savior or bread and butter. And here's why. There are a lot of differences. In residential remodeling, you can be in and out. You're typically dealing directly with the homeowner, right? So it's a much simpler process. When you get into the commercial work, there can be layers of separation and there can be delays, and projects can take a lot longer, and payments are typically a lot farther apart. and there's not always big deposits up front. A lot of times you're fronting things and then getting reimbursed. So you have to be structurally set up that way. Financially, you need to have good terms with vendors, right? You need to have cash in the bank so that you can outlay and pay your guys and then receive money as an account receivable on the back end, right? So all that's a whole nother setup for a business. And if you're not used to dealing that way, this could really impact you a lot. So where I'm going with this is I wouldn't be afraid of the opportunity if it comes your way. And I would even be open to investigating if you can get yourself into some of these opportunities. Who knows? It could totally transform your business. All you need is one good project. Sometimes that's you're just one remodel away from that your whole business transforming. So if you're good with estimating and you're good at managing and you're very talented at adhering to schedules and keeping people on task, then this could be a way for you to make 2025 a good year for you. So with that being said, let's look at it a little bit further.
Hello, this is the HackHour Podcast. A show where it's all about helping real, everyday, hard-working remodelers learn the secrets to having it all in life and business. And now, here's your host, Mike Menges.
Hey, welcome to the HackHour Podcast. I'm Mike Menges, longtime remodeler and founder of the Remodeling Academy and this HackHour Podcast. Here is a place where remodelers like yourself are going to learn the back-end business tools to make every job profitable, right? Today, we're diving into maybe not the commercial side of business for you. And look, as a residential remodeler, this can be lucrative to get into and diversify. All right. If you're already licensed and insured, then this is not that big of a step for you. Today, I want to break it down and I share with you how I do this. I use a framework called the format system, and it's a very proven and predictable process that helps people learn, right? I get into the why, the what, the how, and the what if, and that's the structure of the format of this podcast. So by the end, maybe you can see if commercial remodeling is maybe worth your time or not, right? And if it is, then how do you start booking your calendar? So let's look at this. There are some big chains spending big money this year, right? And it could, as you mentioned, I talked about not that long ago, there was Walmart's remodeling over 650 locations just this year alone, right? And then you look at places like Burger King, Denny's, right? I mean, just to name a few, they're dropping billions of dollars this year to refresh. The restaurant game has gotten very competitive, and these places are finding that a 10-year-old look is not appealing to consumers. So they're doing everything they can, and a lot of these places are getting away from the old style of bland, and they're doing a lot of intricate, neat details, and they need talented people to come in and give the business that flair that they're looking for. So if you are talented, you can make a name for yourself. So let's look at why should you care about possibly getting into some, maybe let's call it commercial restaurant or food remodeling space. So here's why it matters, right? In 2025, the commercial remodeling market, it's on fire. Like I said, Burger King's probably putting in over $2 billion to add their little sizzle, and Denny's, I think, is spending about $250,000 per location. You have Popeyes, Applebee's, they're all racing to modernize. And I mean, like I said, Walmart is probably going to spend $3 to $10 billion this year on their store remodels. And a lot of their stores include like some sort of food, whether it's a Starbucks, there's going to be someone doing that type of work as well. So there is money out there to be made. And the profit on the remodels can be rather good. You could be doing easy 20% on some of these projects, and higher, depending on how organized and how structured you are. And on it can add up is what I'm getting at. So look at these opportunities, and if your residential work is slowing down, it's not time to throw in, the towel yet. Maybe there's an opportunity around the corner for you, and one restaurant remodel might be the only thing that's keeping you from getting over the hump this year. So remember, more money, more stability, and it's a chance to keep the engine going. So what exactly, right, is this commercial remodeling that we're talking about? And it's just making a transformation of a lot of these commercial fast food spaces, right? It's a lot of it, they're casual dining spots or some of these retail spaces. So, I mean, when you think about something like a Burger King, it used to be kind of very utilitarian, bland, right? And now they're doing things where they want maybe a nice hardwood floor. They could be looking at like some sort of a digital menu display that needs to be set up. And they might want to add some soft wood touches around that. You just don't know what they're going for, but it's worth looking into it. And when these companies are dropping, hundreds of thousands of dollars per location, it's something to look into. And again, if you're already skilled at organizing people, then this is just one other discipline to do it in, right? So, but you have to understand that there are going to be some compliance issues that you're going to have to get yourself familiar with. You'll have to understand some ADA rules. You'll have to understand some health codes, right? And be good with managing a complex schedule, because most likely there's going to be multiple subs, more than you might be used to dealing with on a project like this. But there can be a nice reward. So let's talk about how do you actually get started. So I wouldn't worry a lot about a ton of the details. I would just first start with being open, right? And then networking. Who do you know in your local market? Talk to real estate agents, talk to commercial real estate agents, talk to insurance brokers, just talk to friends, family members, right? And as you put the word out that you're open to that, you never know who you're going to meet or where you're going to be, and someone might find. You can look on some different websites, you can get certified and look at something that maybe a company offering that NARI might have. And you can also look for, are there going to be any franchise expos, any chamber events in your local area? If you see another restaurant or some sort of commercial space being built out, stop by one day, introduce yourself, find out how to get in touch with the people that are running that site. Put your name in the ring, get your name in the hat, okay? So there's lots of different ways that you can show off. And if you have a decent social media presence, at minimum you have a website where you can showcase some of your work and give some sort of a digital presentation, or put together a Canva profile and let's call it a portfolio that you could share. That all can help. So again, look to just start small. Just get your name out. Do it as part of your daily thing that you're already doing. Anytime you're at another restaurant, ask if the owner's in. Hey, who did you hire when this was remodeled? How did that happen? Okay, I'm looking to get into it. Could you help? Is there anyone you could put me in touch with? How could just have a nice conversation? All right. Offer to help them fix something in exchange for them helping you get into the system. So what if you were to take this leap? So here's the fun part. You just never know where the next remodel is going to take you, right? And I mean, what would it look like if you landed a $250,000 remodel next month, that you could be doing within 3 months from now? How many opportunities could that provide for you guys? So you just don't know what is going to happen, right? You don't know where it's going to be, when it's going to be. Your business could scale rather quickly, and it could just be that lifeline that you need to hold you over so that you can continue searching and marketing for residential jobs, but you have this nice commercial job to hold you over for a little while. So you could look at potentially becoming a go-to for a remodeler for one of these you're the go-to remodeler for a franchise anytime they want to do something in your state. You just don't know, right? What if you were the guy that remodeled the first Five Guys, right? You had no idea. And then the owner of Five Guys says, hey, we're going to be opening up 5 more stores. Would you do that for us? And the next thing you know, Five Guys is opening up everywhere, right? You just don't know what it's going to be. So understand that, yes, payments can drag out, and you have to be set up and prepared financially for that, all right? But that's where you do your homework, you vet your clients, you have good agreements, and you treat the commercial job, again, as a bonus and not necessarily the bread and butter. So it could transform your business. That's all we're saying. All right. I can't say whether it's going to be good for you or not. You have to be able to determine, but understand the opportunity is out there and it's going to be good for somebody. It's also going to be trouble for someone, right? And by you being smart and having a good head on your shoulders, most likely if you decide to venture into it, you set yourself up to have more success than the guy who doesn't plan at all. All right. So let's move on from that. As far as the rest of the year, 2025 is shaping up to be quite a year for remodelers. If you are not swamped with calls and work right now, then I suggest that you do something to get yourself there, right? And if nothing else, if you haven't already, get yourself into our 5-day Remodeler Challenge. The next one will be opening soon. And right now, get yourself a copy of the Remodelers Get Paid to Estimate book, all right? Start there. Just get a copy of the book, and that'll set you up so that you can start earning some money today, tomorrow, and every day thereafter. So I thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HackHour Podcast. Please like, subscribe, put in any comment that you like, and we look forward to having you come back for the next episode. Again, get out there, get going, be busy, be profitable. Look, your success, it's ready for you. The question is, are you going to be ready for it when it shows up? All right, take care.
Thank you for listening to the HackHour Podcast. It would be awesome if you would leave us a quick review on iTunes. To further your remodeling success, go to remodelingriches.com.